All right, Math 1 teachers, here are some tips and tricks on preparing the kids for this. And, I apologize I didn't, have this done beforehand, but realistically, it's a trial and error for me also. So, please be flexible, patient, and understand that this is a learning curve for everybody. So, when I went through with the kids to figure out the grid of response, the first thing I did is I made them watch a video, and then while they were on the Google Meet, what I did was I had them say, "Mr. Farina, I'm finished." And then while they're writing the grid or right when they're in the Google Meet, what I do is I go to student reports and I pull up their name, right? And when I pull up their name and I go student reports, I could literally look and say, "All right, Brianna, you got this one wrong for whatever reason. I don't know why that one marked it wrong. Let me see if there's a better example. Sorry. I think that was a mistake on my part. So what I would do is as soon as a kid said they were done, right, I would refresh the screen and these would pop up. And I would say, all right, I was there. Your student report, you got this one wrong. What'd you do wrong? You didn't put the parentheses in. But I actually fixed it and told the kids, I know it's not proper, but I gave with the parentheses and without the parentheses as possible options. I know that's not mathematically correct, but I don't want that to be the reason that people are doing more work or kids are getting problems wrong. But then I would say, okay, Johnny, what did you do wrong? So I'd go, this kid, pull up the student report, and I'd said, oh, you forgot the decimal point. Make sure you add that. Okay, same thing here. You forgot the parentheses. So what I did is I pulled up the reports, and the reports show right away, this is how they inputted it. This is how it's supposed to be inputted. Okay, so that's how I went through it. I made sure every kid knew what they did wrong before they took the test. I know that could take some time, but it benefits greatly as we move forward with other tests. Now, a couple other things with the test. When you go and give the test, so I gave this practice quiz and so on, and all of these tabs up here become your best friend. The first one being, if you want to go through with the kids a preview of the test, or even just for yourself, right? If you click layout and preview, and you get the test, you could actually go through what the test looks like. So you start the preview and you can say, all right, this is what the kids are going to see, and I know I can go X to the 10th, right? Then I click down, next. So you could actually preview and go through the test as a student would. Couple of things. Some students don't know how to type in the caret key or the parentheses, right? So remember, let them know that they don't have to click on the bubbles. They can type it in, but to get the caret key, they would hit the shift key and the 6, and they should know that it jumps right to the bubble when they put it in. If they go to type something that's not a bubble option, it will not allow them to. So if I go to hit the plus sign, shift plus, that comes up, the bubble comes in, right? So keep that in mind. All right, so now I'm going to click out of this and go back to Mastery Manager. So once you know how it is for a student, say your class starts the exam. If I click on status, right, that allows me to see who's started the exam. So anytime they have a red X in this box, like this student started the exam, so Ramos Garcia started the exam, but Ayed didn't because he doesn't have a red X. So the red X tells me that student's in the exam. So once I give the students the code, right, and I say go in it, the first thing I do is I click on status to make sure all the students that are present in class access the exam. Okay? Now, how do I know when a student finishes the exam? Right? A student who submits the exam, it says total time here, right? And this time displayed tells me that student submitted the exam. Okay? Now, what happens if a student or a class period ends and some students say, I didn't finish the exam? The first thing you're going to do is tell them, exit out of the exam. Just click the exit tab at the top and exit out. They could also just submit what they have. Mastery Manager saves all their information. So hypothetically, say their internet goes out or their computer shut down. Mastery Manager hits or saves everything. But the thing is, they cannot get back into the exam until you unlock it. And how do you unlock it as a teacher? You go to the status tab at the top, you click the X, and now that kid, once they have the code again, they can go back into the exam. Okay? If a kid submits it, to allow them to go and fix their mistakes, they can click on the X, they can re-exit or they can re-enter the exam. Okay? So that's how you unlock the exam and all that. Now, say you have 6 kids absent, right? And you don't want them to receive the code and get into the exam. To basically turn off the online exam for anybody who's not accessed the exam and you don't want them to, when you go to the online button, you can deactivate the exam by clicking activate and save. And once you save it, if this is not checked, no student, whether they started the exam or have not started the exam, can activate that exam. You can turn that exam back on by clicking activate and hitting save. Now, absent kids can access that exam. Okay? Next, reports. If you hit generate reports, these are the student-friendly ones. Hint of advice. If you have several sections, separate by sections. And now when you click generate reports, you can get the alphabetical results. And this is for the kids in each section. Okay? Now, say you see a kid got like a low grade. Oh, this kid got a 20%. Man, what'd they do wrong? I have the opportunity to click on that student's name and it shows their response, the correct answers. So I can see, wow, this kid put X to the first power, forgot the 5. But what did he do here? He forgot the caret key. Here, he had the answer right, but he put parentheses around. So now as a teacher, right, I can go and like give points back because I know it was a mistake on how they entered it. But what's even nicer in the reports feature is if I'm in the quiz and I go reports, if I click on all sections, right, and I click student reports, I can go individual students, or I can do the whole class if it's highlighted, click student reports, and I can see every student. And what's nice is you can print this out as individual pages, and you could go through the ones that were marked wrong to see if it was a clerical error on their part, right? Or if they actually got the problem wrong. And you can almost like quickly just hand grade them for them. I know that's a pain, but printing them out and going through them is not hard because you can see their response and their answers right then and there. Okay? So now, last, if you see or the Learning Mastery Objectives report, when you click on that, what's nice about this is these are each of the I can statements, the number of problems and the problems linked to that I can statement, and you can see how well students did in each of the objectives, right? And I can say, all right, Brianna, you did really good on these, you did bad on these. So these are the ones that you're going to remediate. All of your tests you'll be able to send your students their printouts and their reports so they know what they have to remediate exactly. Okay? If you're going through student reports and you see there's a common answer that everybody put in and you're like, technically it's acceptable, you can say, hey, Ron, can you put this as a acceptable answer choice? I'll go in there, enter that as a possible answer, and then update. And then as soon as I make the update, everybody can reprint reports and it fixes it. I hope these are some good tips and tricks. If you have any other questions, let me know.